from the NewsChannel 5 network. This is Score on Business.
Hey, welcome to Score on Business. I'm Pete Hendricks, your host today. I'm an entrepreneur as well. Score is all about seeing you succeed. We've got lots of classes and no-cost consulting. Check out scorenashville.org. And our first guest today, Barbara Toms, who is a former attorney, started Sweet Creations in 2010. They make pies which are sold to commercial accounts and then through their retail store to just regular folks, as well as shipping pies to customers that just haven't had enough of her great pies. She's strongly committed to creating jobs in the Nashville community for those who have previously struggled. So thanks for being here, Barbara.
Well, thanks for the invitation to join you here at Score on Business.
So, Barbara, you make pies both for individuals and for commercial accounts. What sets you apart with these two customer segments?
Well, I think that, you have to know your market and the customer. And we're in a food age where people are health conscious and they are portion control conscious. So we have the mini tarts. And we use no preservatives or any additives in our pies. So it has a farm to table feel to it.
Right.
And that's very trendy, right through here.
Heck yeah.
But for those people who grew up with home-baked pies, our pies recreate the experience of home-baked pies. And for those who didn't have that advantage, we create those memories for them with our pies.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And how about commercial accounts? What do you do for those?
Well, my start in the commercial area was, I would say, maybe almost a golden opportunity, because I was approached by a commercial customer. And what was going on in the market at that time.
They tasted your pie.
They tasted my pie. And they were rebranding their business model to include local products in their stop and go stores.
Right.
And so my pie fit that mold. It was local. Like I said, it was almost that farm to table appeal to that. And we have great pies.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't wait to try some. Okay. So look at, you've got employees now and you're growing. What advice would you give food-related entrepreneurs that are getting started and targeting commercial customers?
Well, I believe that you just can't have too much information when starting a business. It's a very complex process. And in the food industry, you're dealing with a lot of regulation.
Right.
And your infrastructure needs to be strong. So my first advice would be, if you're not enrolled with SCORE and don't have a SCORE mentor, I have a SCORE mentor.
Oh, do you?
I've had a SCORE mentor for many years, and it's been an invaluable asset.
Right.
The training classes, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And being in that environment, people let you know that you're going to have to know the language of finance. You're going to have to know those financial documents.
Right.
And if you don't know how to do it yourself, then you're going to have to surround yourself with people that do that.
Yes.
You're going to have to also know the legal aspects of it. Like I said, it's a very heavily regulated industry on the local, state, and federal level. And so it's a lot. So a lot of times people go into business just thinking, I make the great pies in the world and whatever. And if you're not working on your business as well as working in your business, you're not going to grow.
Yeah, and with food, there are a lot of regulations.
There's a lot of regulations, and we're becoming even more heavily regulated with that. And you can understand with the recalls, people are put at safety. And especially if you're using ingredients that, could create some illnesses and all. Right. And so you just need to surround your people,
and of
yourself
course,
with people. Yes.
Do pies have eggs in them, right?
Pies have eggs in them.
Yes. So
our pies, we tell our customers to come in, and our commercial customers, we put nothing in our pies that you can't spell or pronounce.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, SCORE has been real helpful for you.
Invaluable. like I said, sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. And,
Right.
and for a small business, the worst thing you want to say is, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And so you have to equip yourself
Yeah.
and prepare. And there's no excuse these days because we have SCORE.
Right.
And my SCORE mentor directed me to other resources.
Yeah. Oh, there, yeah.
Yes, and one piece of advice led me into a entrepreneur development class, 12 weeks of very intensive training where I was able to better understand my product, the industry, who my competitors, and how I can offer value to customers based on the fact of they may not getting what they need from another.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so and it was just away from the bakery to be surrounded by other developing entrepreneurs.
Right.
And we understood that no matter what the industry, no matter what the product or service is, we all had common interest in wanting to
Yes.
grow our business, and we had common challenges of
Right.
growing our business.
Yeah, and one point you made that's really important. You have to know what things cost.
You have to know, and that's probably what gets a lot of small businesses, in trouble, is that you have to be aware. Like I said, you have to know your product or your service, and know its limitations, and being real honest about what your limitations are, and what you are as a business owner, your
Right.
limitations. So I depend strongly on my baking team. I have a baking team that has over 50 years of retail food industry experience. And so that was not my skill set when I first
Right.
started this. So you have to surround yourself with people
Oh,
that
absolutely.
will help guide you, and you have to be willing
Yeah.
to listen and have some realistic expectations.
Yeah. Yeah, you want all your employees to know more than you.
Yes,
and
yes.
you just help them succeed.
Yes, when they tell me, Barbara, get out of the kitchen, I follow
Yeah.
their advice. I get out of the kitchen.
Okay, so what about you have commercial business,
Yes.
and you also have a retail establishment.
Yes.
So for entrepreneurs that are wanting to get started with a food-related retail establishment, and in your case as a bakery, what would you share with them?
Well, as I said, the first step is to be able to assess where you
Yeah.
are at that moment, and other people can help you do that with that. After that, like I said, you have to have a very strategic plan of knowing what your costs are.
Right.
Your fixed costs, and then as the food industry can be sort of volatile from the standpoint of, if there is something that is impacting the egg industry, it might be a shortage of supplies because I think last year they had the avian flu that
Right.
affected the eggs, and so the prices changed. So you also have to, I visit the U.S. Trade website quite frequently just to see, with the futures and how that might impact my business,
Right.
just keeping aware of what my costs
wow.
might be.
Yeah, checking out the futures markets. That makes a lot
and
of
so
sense.
like I said, that just is very
Yeah.
complex, and so I really would advise them to, if you have the dream, and
Yeah.
nurture the dream, but also prepare yourself to implement the dream,
Yeah.
and know what you don't know, and so be willing to listen to people who know more than you,
Right.
and guide you through that process.
Right. And now there are options, looking at restaurants, I realize you're a bakery, restaurants often don't make it. Now there's so many options for people to get started and get some traction without having to actually rent or purchase a retail establishment.
Oh, yes.
Like in the restaurant business, a restaurant that has a breakfast and lunch menu and they're closed at dinner, they'll rent out the dinner to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, for about 5 years, I was baking out of my church's commercial kitchen.
Yeah.
And so that support was critical,
Right.
because it provided me not only a very cost-efficient way of managing
Right.
my costs in that area, but then I had ready customers because my church members would come in and buy my product.
And being there cooking Sunday
Yeah.
morning.
I paid a reasonable, a nominal amount
Right.
of rent. And so it was the same concept as the leased kitchens that they have out there, or using
Yes.
it was just a more family environment that I was in with with the church, and I owe a lot of the success that's been achieved so far to the support that I've gotten. So it's relationships. I think that if I had to kind of pare it down to how you can try to make a successful, not only preparing yourself, but relationships with your people internally, out, externally. It's a different world out there. You used to put a product in the back of a car and drive off to a potential customer and get out and try to sell it to you and get a contract that way. The world is a lot more complex now. So I call myself a little fish, just trying to stay in the pond with the big fish out there. Yeah.
Awesome. Barbara, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. And I want to hear a review on those pies.
Okay, I will do so.
All right.
Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
Thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Okay.